is going to explain the reason why the tortoise, the shell of the tortoise is, broken. So you know how like the tortoise shell has a lot of cracks. So this is gonna explain the reason why. So get ready to get sleepy. Okay, so a long time ago, when animals still spoke like humans, there lived a tortoise. This tortoise was very, very clever. He was also very greedy. One year, the dry season was long. The earth was cracked, the streams shrank, and food was scarce. One evening, all the birds gathered under a tree. They received an invitation. There was gonna be a feast in the sky with the god of birds. The tortoise listened very carefully. He couldn't fly, but he wanted that feast. He was hungry. So he approached the birds with a humble voice and said, "My friends, please, can each of you lend me a feather? Together we can go to the sky and have the feast." The birds hesitated, but they were kind and didn't want their friend the tortoise to starve. So they each gave him a feather. The tortoise tied them to his shell, and then he started flying and rose to the clouds. Before arriving to the feast, the tortoise told the birds, "In sky, it is tradition to take new names. You have to abandon the person you were on earth and take a new name. So, the name I choose for myself today is All of You." So, the tortoise decided to call himself All of You. The birds, who have never heard of this before, were shocked by the wisdom of the tortoise, so they agreed unaware and all gave themselves new names. At the feast, the host said, "This food I bring is for all of you." All the animals were happy and ecstatic, thinking they were ready to feast. But the tortoise stepped forward and said, "I am all of you. That is my name," he said as he looked at the birds slyly, and he ate and ate and ate as the birds watched in silence. When the feast ended, there was nothing left, as the tortoise had ate all of it. So the birds decided to take the feathers from the betraying tortoise. So he was left all alone in the sky, with no friends, no feathers, and no way to get back down. So he called his wife from down below. So he was in the sky and his wife was in the earth. So he yelled at his wife, "Prepare something." I started. So the tortoise was in the sky and told his wife down below to prepare like some layers of some things so he can jump. So he called down to his wife below, "Prepare some things outside of the house." But the angry birds whispered to her, "Place hard things instead." That's how things work in the sky, the opposite. So basically the birds told the wife of the tortoise that the rules of the sky is that everything is the opposite. So since the tortoise told the wife to prepare some things, that meant that they wanted the wife to prepare hard things. So she gathered a bunch of kettles and pots and told the tortoise he had done it. So the tortoise jumped from the sky is because Akim was so beautiful that the girls were jealous and they was so envious of her. So one day Akim was fetching water from the spring, and 7 girls from her age group approached her and told her there would be a celebration, the New Yam Festival, where they will celebrate the abundance of yams. So there's like a period of time where there's like a lot of yams and it's prosperous because that means there's a lot of food. So the New Yam Festival. So it would be held in a nearby town in 3 days. They invited her to join. She refused and she explained that her parents were poor and she had a lot of work to do, so she couldn't spend time dancing. So that night the 7 girls met together and they decided to pretend to be Aki's friend, like they would pretend to be Akim's friend, and they would help her with her chores until she trusted them, and then continue listening. So at the end of the year, the New Yam Festivation. Oh, sorry, I misspoke there a little bit. So at the end of the year, the New Yam Festival arrived. I think a dry mixing festival and celebration. Anyways, so at the end of the year, the New Yam celebration or festival arrived. This is one of the most important festivals. So Akim really wanted to go. Her parents, however, they gave her like a lot of tasks to do, like filling the pots, fetching water, clearing the weeds. This part kind of reminds me of Cinderella, when the stepmom would give Cinderella like a ton of chores. So anyways, they gave her a lot of chores, so she would have to miss the festival. But the 7 girls came and they completed all the chores for her. So now that all the chores were done, she didn't really have an excuse, so she agreed to go with them. So on their way to the neighboring town, there was a river, and in that river lived a very powerful spirit, or juju. So in Nigerian, like spirits, I'll call her juju. So there lived a very powerful spirit, and the spirit had a very simple rule. If you want to cross the river, you have to offer food in return. If they did not, they would be dragged into the water. So the 7 girls knew this, but Akim did not, and they did not tell her. So they crossed the river safely to the festival, and they had a lot of fun. And Akim, despite not having any fancy dresses or fancy jewelry, she shone brighter than the others because that's how beautiful she was. The people praised her and the young men were admiring her, and the 7 girls grew even more and more jealous. So now it's time to go back home, and the 7 girls snuck food, so they hid food to offer the water spirit, but Akim didn't have anything with her. So at the river, when she saw like the girls making sacrifices, she begged the girls to give her a portion so she could make a sacrifice. The girls refused, and one by one the girls crossed safely. Akim tried stepping into the water, and before she reached the middle, the water spirits seized her and she disappeared. The 7 girls watched and they smiled, but little did they know there was a bird flying by who had witnessed everything. So when Akim's parents came back home and saw that she wasn't doing her chores, she wasn't where she was meant to be, they were searching for her everywhere and just couldn't find her. So the bird came to the father and told him the truth, what happened. The water spirit had taken her. So to save her, the father had to bring 1 goat, a basket of eggs, and a piece of white cloth. And he must catch Akim when she lunges from the water 7 times. If he fails, so the water spirit would throw Akim from the water 7 times, and if he failed to catch her the 7 times, both of them would silence. So Akim's father said nothing to the village, so he said nothing about her being kidnapped and said nothing about saving her. Instead, he prepared his house with traps, with booby traps, so he would dig out like the floor in his house and just prepare sharp objects or like poisonous snakes. And then he invited the whole town to celebrate that Akim was back. So the 7 girls were really scared, but decided to join. If not, it would seem suspicious. So the father welcomed them warmly. He gave them drinks, gave them food, and directed them towards the pit. So as they stepped into the pit, or the booby trap, it fell, and all 7 girls died. So the parents of the dead girls reported the matter to the chief of the village. So the parents of the 7 girls were like, "Hey, like this guy killed our daughters. What the heck? Do something." So the chief said that it wasn't fair. He took 7 lives for 1 life, and the father should have only killed one of the girls. So he said, "Bring your daughter here. Let me talk to her." The chief of Untitled Akim said she was so beautiful that her beauty was worth 1,000 girls, and they were forgiven. And that's the end of the story. Now that I'm retelling it, it is a bit like misogynistic. What you mean, like you're forgiving her because she's pretty? I mean, like slay. Like imagine having such an insane face card, but still, like after rereading it and reflecting on it, I'm like, that's a bit odd. But yeah, that was the second story. Okay, so this story gives an explanation as to why bats are nocturnal animals. So it's a bit silly, but I really like it. So there was a bushrat. So if you guys don't know, in Nigeria, bushrats are like they're like, I don't know what animals they are, but they look like rats, just like rats on steroids. They're like massive, as in like huge. So there was a bushrat called Oyod, and he had a best friend called Emyong. Emyong was a bat, and they always ate together. But the bat was jealous of the bushrat because anytime the bat cooked the food, it was always so good, super tasty. And the bushrat was like, "How do you do it? Like, how is your food always so good? Anytime you make soup, it's so tasty." And the bat replied, "I always boil myself in water, and since my flesh is so sweet, this soup is also good." He then told the bat what he should do. He should boil some water, put himself, stay in for a few hours, then leave. Side eye. So the bushrat was very excited. The bushrat was very excited. He went home and told his wife he was making an amazing soup like the rats. So he told the wife to boil some water, which she did. And when the wife boiled this water, he jumped into a pot, and he was soon found dead. When the wife looked into the pot and saw the dead body, she was very, very angry and reported the matter to the king of the animals. So after further explanation and investigation, they realized that it was the bat who told the bushrat he should jump into boiling water to make soup. So all the animals were looking for the bat everywhere. They were turning rocks upside down, looking for a bat. But sorry guys, my phone was going off. It's just my friend just asking about some schoolwork. Sorry. Where was I? Oh yeah. So all the animals were searching everywhere for the bat. decided to hide himself into some bushes all day, and during night, while all the animals were sleeping, he would live his life. And that's the explanation as to why you never see bats in the daytime. It's a bit silly, very childish, really silly, but it's like kind of like, well, not also, because like the bush rat died, but it's like kind of like a silly funny story to tell kids why you don't see bats during the day. So that's everything, my loves. That's everything for today. I hope you enjoyed the video today. I really enjoyed making it. Yeah, it was really nostalgic because my dad used to tell me these stories all the time when I was like much younger, before it was more acceptable to give your kids phones and such. So yeah, if you guys like noticed me stuttering today a lot, is because I've been so busy with work. I'm a bit sleep deprived actually. I'm really tired, so I hope that didn't like interrupt your experience a lot. And thank you so much for showing up again